What is something a high school teacher told you that you will never forget? I had a gym teacher that was known for being strict/rude. He actively would make kids cry on the regular. Anyway, after my dad passed away he was still super strict towards me. But one day after track practice he caught me in the hall and said, "Your dad would be so proud of you." It caught me so off guard, I actually cried. So he did live to his reputation of making kids cry. Gym teacher walking away, got him. By any means necessary. We're all trying to figure it out, at any age. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. On September 11th, while classes were all but cancelled, most teachers just rolled in TVs and left the news on. Not Jim R. He got up and lectured, to the groans of students. He talked about the effects this would have on the economy, our politics, our culture and society. And he was right. In somewhat broad strokes, of course. But this was literally hours after the towers collapsed. When so much was still unknown, frightening and tragic. It really gave me what I would consider a solid base of understanding the things that would come in the next decade. He talked about how traveling would change with restrictive security measures, how politics would take advantage of terrorism, how the wars we will engage will be paid for by my generation, my kids' generation and so on. He talked about how racism will spike toward Middle Eastern peoples out of anger and fear and how that is totally wrong. As a vet and former cop, he cautioned us to not join the military while emotions ran high and a sense of patriotism was thick in our veins. It was a gift. As the years went on, WMDs, the Iraq War, TSA, Department of Homeland Security all came about. I felt like I already knew. I will never forget that fourth period class. He probably saved a few kids' lives in that room. Wow. Was in the 90s, my political thought teacher never document your deviance. That should be told to every kid nowadays in the ever-expanding social media age because that's all they do constantly. Seriously. I mean, I guess it can TWCH kids consequences to dumb actions quick, but still. Posting you smoking weed and vandalizing a school on TikTok. Idiots. Political thought teacher sounds very dystopian. My music teacher used to tell me that before you could break the rules, you had to understand them. Jazz in a nutshell. If you hit a wrong note, just hit it 3 times / some random guy on Reddit /. I had a piano teacher who said to me, if you were ever in a band and played a wrong note, do not hesitate and just go with. No one pays attention to the pianist. My piano teacher said something but I wasn't paying attention. My chemistry teacher told my mom that I would do so much better if I asked questions. I've found that this is true in all stages of life. Ask questions. I realized later in life that the phrase "there are no stupid questions" could be swapped by "I'd rather you ask me 20 dumb questions and get it right, than to be afraid to ask and get it wrong." I developed this while I was a kitchen manager and realized that some people just haven't done things that you would normally consider everyday and obvious. I would rather them ask several times over than to screw it up once. A teacher of mine said he would write me a letter of recommendation, but it had been a week or so and he hadn't gotten back to me yet. I went in a third time to remind him and I started off with an apology, to which he corrected me, saying don't ever stop advocating for yourself. It's advice I haven't forgotten since. Don't stop advocating for yourself, but please leave me alone for 2 seconds. Me to my child after they ask for a snack for the 137,383 time in an hour. It's like they are an endless barrel. Where do all the snacks go? Good morning. I'm Mr. Taylor and I will be teaching grade 10 English this semester. First let me address what you're all wondering. Yes. This is a glass eye. I lost it playing darts. Dart to the eye. Will stick with me for life. #_. Coming up to our final year 12 exams, my maths teacher handed out an article on the most common things people said on their deathbed. She said no one wished they had worked longer hours, that they had spent more time at work than with their loved ones. If we didn't get the grades we wanted, that's okay, because there'll be a back doors to where we wanted to go. Failure is okay. It's only a minor setback. What's important is having a good balance between work/studies, family/friends and our own hobby/interest. I'm 32 and at a crossroads in life right now. I can either keep working this shit plastic factory job that's toxic in more way than one but pays well, or I can say fuck it and accept the position at Target that I applied for so I can work less hours, make less money, but hopefully have a better schedule for going back to school and finally doing something with my life. Reading this, I think I need to make that change. Edit. Thanks for the support everyone, this blew up way more than I thought it would and the kind words truly helped. Good for you, I hope you can find peace with the way your life is headed. Good luck. My partner had a high school teacher that would walk through the busy hallways at school shouting hot coffee while holding an empty mug. He just wanted people to get out of his way and it always worked. In high school I used to wear a trench coat and was one of the larger kids at the school. I had a French teacher who used to follow me down the halls because the crowds used to part from me and she could get around quicker following me, because of it. Slipstream. I had a buddy who wore a trench coat to school. He was really cool and not a weirdo, but just the trench coat put most people off. Lamau. Leave your verbal guns at the door. This was the HS football coach's first words teaching sex ed at my high school. He used the metaphor of the old American West where cowboys would leave their guns at the door when they entered a saloon to drink so nobody would get killed in a drunken outburst. He said we'd talk about a lot of topics that might make us feel uncomfortable and tempted to make a joke at someone else's expense to break the tension. He asked us to leave our verbal guns at the door so everyone could feel comfortable asking honest questions. This was back in the late 80s. He was way ahead of his time. That's cool. Did it work? My high school biology teacher, on the end of every quiz or exam, would put a giveaway point question. The question was always the same: science is A. exciting, B. interesting, C. a challenge, D. all of the above. No matter which you marked, you got the point. However, since this was on every exam, the saying was sandblasted into my long-term memory. This led to me always somehow muttering this whenever I was taking an exam in university, substituting the word science with whatever necessary. Then it led to me muttering it whenever I was dealing with something stressful. Now it has become a fallback whenever I run into a life roadblock and everything is simply designated A. exciting, B. interesting, C. a challenge, D. all of the above. It's simple but it helps keep me from being too negative. I am saving this comment because I want my kids to have this mentality too. Maybe I'll make a poster. Pay attention to what you pay attention to. If anyone's interested, it's called metacognition. It's a really valuable way to build self-awareness and understand how you come to beliefs. Edit. It's also worth checking out epistemology, the study of how we know things. Teaching how to think should be integral to our system. Not how you should think, but the basic ability of critical thinking, questioning, higher order thinking. As someone going to school to become a teacher, this mindset is becoming more common among teachers. Teachers observe how students prefer to learn and incorporate those aspects into the curriculum. Obviously, there are still teachers who don't care about the learning needs of their students, but as time goes on, more and more teachers will embrace lessons that promote critical thinking. My favorite math teacher had a philosophy about us understanding how to get to formulas instead of memorizing them. Basically, if we memorized them, we were gonna remember them wrong and would never be the wiser because we thought we remembered it. My econ professor said the same thing, and it's the truth. Gotta be able to apply that knowledge to graphs and real-life examples. My physics teacher, who I actually talked about in this post, never just gave us the formulas. Instead, he showed us how to derive those formulas from other related formulas. The best math teachers will show you why the formulas work and how to derive them. Mrs. Botilio, my senior year English teacher, left me a note on my final essay. She said that every writing assignment, she would put mine on the bottom of the stack so that she knew she had a good one to look forward to. My high school baseball coach, sociology teacher always used to say those who are prepared create their own luck before exams. This is a true life lesson. Luck favors the prepared. Luck is what happens when preparation and calamity collide. I was told luck was when preparation and opportunity collide. That I wasn't stupid, just lazy. Changed my life. That's what my stepdad tells me, then later proceeds to call me a stupid idiot Lamau. You're not stupid, you're lazy. Until you know you're lazy and don't change it, then you're stupid. HS teacher reminded me that life is worth living to live if you found your happiness and purpose. Not as inspiring as the others, but I always found it funny how my teacher would say 90 degrees instead of sit up straight. They should have said pi/2. What a chump. I went to a middle school with uniforms. Only certain colors of jacket were permitted in the building. If you were wearing the wrong color jacket, this one teacher would yell "jacket off" really loudly. You can imagine how that phrase goes with a bunch of 11 to 14-year-olds.